Let's talk about a problem I bet you've felt. You're creating more and more content, but are you actually seeing the results you want? It's something called the content trap, and in this explainer, we are going to break down exactly how to escape it for good.
So let's be honest for a second. Does it ever feel like you're just stuck on a content hamster wheel? You're just churning out blog posts, social updates, videos, day after day, just trying to keep up. You're running faster and faster, but you're not really getting anywhere new. It's a super common feeling, and honestly, it's just exhausting.
And look, you're not just imagining it. Joe Pulizzi from the Content Marketing Institute, he really hits the nail on the head here. He says repetition is literally killing our industry. It's become this giant echo chamber of the same ideas, just repackaged over and over. And you know what? Our audiences are tuning out. This right here is the core problem we have to solve.
And that brings us to something we can call the parrot content trap. Let's really dig into why the old playbook, the one that just says produce more content, is failing so badly right now.
To really get a sense of the scale here, just look at this number. A mind-blowing 91% of B2B companies are all in on content marketing. I mean, think about that for a second. Your competition isn't just a few other companies anymore. It's basically everyone. The whole marketplace is just completely saturated.
And it's not just who is creating content, it's how often. 60% of marketers are pushing out at least one new piece of content every single day. That's not a stream of information. That is a tidal wave. And most of it, let's be real, is just adding to the noise.
So what's the outcome of this content tidal wave? Well, when everybody is just saying the same stuff over and over again, you don't get this amazing variety of ideas. You get a huge, steaming pile of sameness. It's just the same concepts rehashed and repeated into infinity. This might be my favorite way to describe this whole situation. Creating this kind of repli content, as they call it, is like trying to chop down a giant redwood tree with a fish, a herring to be specific. It is an incredible amount of effort for basically zero impact. It's frustrating, it's pointless, and it just flat out doesn't work. So, the big question is, how do we trade in that herring for a real axe? Let's pivot to the solution. We have to shift our entire way of thinking from just content production to something called strategic thought leadership. Okay, so what in the world is strategic thought leadership? Well, it's way more than just having smart ideas or being an expert. It's a deliberate, structured strategy to fundamentally change the conversation in your entire industry. The whole point is to shift how your market thinks, guiding them toward a brand new perspective, one that makes your unique solution the only logical choice. This mindset shift is absolutely crucial. The old way of thinking was all about status, about being a thought leader, having a known name. But the new goal is all about action. It's about practicing leadership. You're not just a name anymore. You are actively out there, changing the way people think. It's a verb, not a noun.
All right, so that's the what. But why does this approach work so much better than the old way? Let's dive into the powerful outcomes that happen when you start practicing strategic leadership.
At its very core, this whole strategy just flips the script. You stop trying to target your audience and you start targeting their questions. You focus on what they need to learn first and foremost. And that simple shift, it changes everything. You start building relationships based on genuine trust instead of just chasing empty clicks. And this approach has this amazing ripple effect. So you're not just selling a product anymore. You're actually empowering your audience to get more value out of what they do. You're helping them make smarter buying decisions. And ultimately, you're teaching them a whole new set of buying criteria. And what do you know? Those just happen to be criteria that only your company can truly fulfill.
And here's the real strategic urgency. If you're not the one leading your market to new ways of thinking, you can bet one of your competitors will be. In today's world, it's pretty simple. You either disrupt the conversation or you're going to be the one who gets disrupted and left behind.
Now, this all sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually do it? Let's get really practical here and walk through the framework for putting this whole strategy into action. The framework itself is actually a pretty straightforward three-step process. First, you have to build your big, unique idea. That's your thought leadership model. Second, you break that big idea down into a library of smaller, provable points. And third, that library becomes the fuel for every single piece of content you create. It ensures everything is consistent, coherent, and has a real impact. Now, that second step, the support point library, that is the real engine of this whole thing. I want you to think of it like an arsenal of arguments. It's this collection of specific, powerful talking points that are all designed to dismantle the old way of thinking and build the case for your new perspective. For instance, if your big idea is that AI in sales isn't about replacing people, it's about making them superhuman, a support point could be a stat showing AI-assisted reps close 30% more deals. Bam! That's a weapon right from your arsenal.
And the payoff for building this library? It is huge. All of a sudden, planning your content calendar becomes so much easier. Every piece of content you create now has a clear strategic purpose. You've got this never-ending flow of distinctive angles, and for the first time, there's a direct, coherent line connecting your high-level strategy to your day-to-day work.
So, what's the ultimate goal here? What's the end game of all this work? Well, if you do this right, you're not just creating content anymore. You're aiming for something much, much bigger, what we call market lock-on.
And this is it. This is what it's all about. The result is an audience that sees you not just as another vendor, but as their essential guide. You've actually taught them a new, better way to see their own world, and because of that deep trust you've built, they wouldn't even consider doing business with anyone else.
So, I'll leave you with this question to really think about. Take a good, hard look at your current strategy. Is your content just another herring being thrown against a tree? Are you just adding to the noise? Or are you finally ready to stop parroting the conversation and actually start leading it?